So I just created videos about Deconstructing Sexual Shame chapters 7 and 9, and then I talked about chapter 8, and now I'm on to chapter 10. And the reason I have created all these videos in one day is because they're just so intertwined, because I was talking about my relationship with the guy that I was kind of obsessed with for a long time, in both chapter 7 and chapter 9. And during that 5 to 6 year period, I also went on a weight loss journey and a praying for sexual healing, because I was very much sheltering myself in an overweight body, which is not true of everyone who's overweight, but that was true for me. That there was a part of me that wanted to stay overweight to protect myself from sex. So that was all wrapped up together, this relationship with this guy and this desire to be more free, to find freedom sexually. And so it was around 2009, I think, 2009. I just was looking at my book. 2009, when I finally got over my obsession with this guy, and that was the same year that I was a bridesmaid for the second time. So I had been a bridesmaid for my uncle when I was just 17 years old. My uncle was not much older than me. He was 6 years older than me. So we had a fairly, I guess we had a special bond. Like we grew up together. I was babysat by my grandmother, his mother. He was babysat by my mother, his sister. And on a semi-regular basis, we went to the same church for a long time as kids, teenagers, and young adults. And so we interacted a lot. We were close as uncle and niece, but it kind of felt more like stepbrother, stepsister type situation, because we didn't live in the same house, but we spent a lot of time together as family. And so anyway, I was his bridesmaid because we have this connection, and he wanted me to be one of their bridesmaids. And I was very honored and enjoyed being a bridesmaid for my uncle, who much later down the track turned out to be gay and got a divorce and married a man, which I love that too. And unfortunately, I wasn't a bridesmaid at his second wedding. I wasn't even able to attend the second wedding because I think COVID was the reason. Anyway, so I was a bridesmaid in 2000. I was bridesmaid again in 2009 when my sister got married, and she was 6 years younger than me. So Uncle Tommy, 6 years older, my sister Jules, 6 years younger. So I was 27 when she got married. And I was very much a virgin and very jealous of her going off and having sex with her husband, and called her on a honeymoon, "How was the sex?" as a curious virgin. And we were really good friends, me and my sister, very close. And well, at the time, we had to develop that as adults, essentially, because of the age gap when we were younger. I kind of ignored her a little bit as a child, which is really unfair. And then as a young adult, I made a conscious decision that I was going to have a better relationship with my sister. And so I do have a better relationship with her. And I was the bridesmaid for the third time when my dad got remarried in 2012. And I'm looking at my book because there's this picture of me as a bridesmaid, 2000, 2009, 2012. So very different ages and body weights and everything. So my dad so this chapter 10 is called 3 Times a Bridesmaid, the Dating and Waiting Game. And when my mum passed away in 2011, and my dad started dating a woman in July 2012 and got engaged within about a month and got married September 1st, 2012. And I was in absolute emotional turmoil. It wasn't really about the fact that my mum was gone and like the whole he's replacing my mum stuff. That was not my concern. Was my dad's about to have sex for the second, like with the second person, and I've had sex with no one. And I also felt very concerned that he was rushing in and getting married really fast. Not in comparison to when my mother passed away necessarily, but just the literal 3 months we've met and now we're getting married. Just like that. 3 months. That really, I was at the stage where I no longer believed in love at first sight. I would not get married in a 3-month time frame. If I ever would have, that would have been a long time ago when I was not very, anyway, I had a hard time understanding why he would rush in and get married. And I put it down to sex. I was like, he's getting married to have sex, which I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. And, so all of that made me decide to have a conversation with my dad about sex. I said, Dad, I'm really horny. I'm really jealous that you're getting married and having sex. And I am really tempted to go out and have sex with someone, basically, was the gist of the conversation. I was 29 years old, almost 30. I turned 30 3 or 4 months after he got married. And I was sick and tired of being a so-called virgin. And so my dad said to me that whatever I decided to do, he would still love me. He prayed for grace. He said he prayed that I would find a husband. Like every day he was praying that prayer. So he felt sorry for me, or, compassion towards me. He wanted me to have what I want. A healthy sex life with a great man, and he could relate to that desire, obviously, and he just he encouraged me to continue to abstain until I'm married, but he also said he would understand if I didn't, basically. And that conversation was very freeing because it was so authentic and because it allowed me to say that I'm no longer going to hold myself responsible to do something for my dad, like to be a certain way to make my dad happy or proud, to live a virginal Christian life just for my dad. Not that I was only ever doing it for my dad, certainly wasn't, but there was this sense of that my dad had some sort of ownership over my virginity, or like a protection over my virginity, and that I was going to, me and my future husband were going to ask for his permission to get married, and then he was going to give me away. All of that stuff is like, well, I'm asking you to allow me to be given away now, like to make my own decision to have sex now if I want to, and feeling released to have some more agency in my life, sexual agency that I didn't feel like I'd really had. And so it was a powerful conversation for my dad to more or less give me my sexual agency. Not that, and of course he still, like I said, he still wanted me to abstain. That's the ideal for him. And but I very much took my agency back through that conversation, and actually I think I was already fooling around with the guy. So fooling around with this guy and debating having sex with him, which is why I spoke to my dad. But I was definite, so there was this definite, I'm taking back some sexual agency here, and I'm going to make this decision for myself, which I think is a powerful thing. And I hope that we can all embrace a little more sexual agency, especially if it has been suppressed by a patriarchal society, and religious legalism and stuff like that, purity culture that gets in and tells us that we can't do these things. So chapter 10, we're on to chapter 11 very soon, and there's we're halfway through the book. Okay.